So last time we looked at what we do inside the lagoon. Now let's look at the outside. Hello and welcome back to Tricolor Gaming with me, Fletcher. And let's get right into the video. The new lagoon update did not just come with decoration pieces for us to use inside the lagoon, but also a number of decoration options for the exteriors of our lagoons. In this video, I'm going to go through how we can use those pieces to best effect. Let's start with how and where you put your lagoon. The first step in designing the outside of the lagoon is to remember that these large lagoon sections are actually hexagons that look round. So if you snap pieces onto every side of a round lagoon section, you get a perfect hexagon. A single lagoon section is also larger than it looks, and in terms of sandbox gameplay, you can easily use a small single lagoon section for an enclosure. In my opinion, a single pool has space enough for easily a pod of 5 or 6 ichthyosaurs, 3 or 4 smaller plesiosaurs, up to 2 larger plesiosaurs, and maybe a single tylosaurus. Sometimes smaller lagoons can be better than large ones. However, if you do want to create larger lagoons, then remember to consider how these will expand and in what direction. Remember that separate pools snap together on the arrows. Think about how your pools will snap together and what shapes you'll end up with. I would always advise that you create lagoons on snap angles, i.e. ensure that your angle snap is on when placing your pieces. The final thing to consider when placing the lagoon is to think about how the lagoon is going to integrate into the rest of your park, and then design the areas around them accordingly. If your lagoon is at the edge of the map, for example, consider placing plenty of landscaping and trees behind the lagoon to blend it into the environment. Alternatively, if you're placing your lagoon more centrally in the park, consider using the lagoon walls as parts of dinosaur enclosures, or build the park around a large central lagoon which serves as a focal point for your park. So what about the design? Well, let's go through some different ideas, and for the moment I won't use any mods here to keep things easy. And let's use a single lagoon section again for ease. Remember, when doing any exterior work, that without mods you will always lose 2 sides of a lagoon, one for the viewing gallery and one for the food, unless you play without hunger requirements. The first thing you could do with the exterior decorations is to have them match the theme of the lagoon interior. For example, let's say you created a volcanic biome lagoon. Matching the volcanic biome then, I would suggest the large pillars of the Jurassic Park era flags and the flaming obelisks. Changing the colours of any surrounding decoration pieces to reds and oranges further enhances that volcanic feel. The JP era viewing gallery suits best for this, I think, and I would use plenty more flaming obelisk decorations, rock planters for any surrounding decoration. A different example, the coral reef biome. I would use the various planter pieces that we have on the lagoon exteriors so that we can maintain that desert island or tropical island feel. Take note that the trees in the planter pieces will be the same types of trees as those that show up on the land-based tree planter decoration. So on a tropical map like Isla Nublar, the trees will be palms, but on taiga maps they will be silver birch, and on desert maps they'll be the yucca plants. Combine these pieces with warm tropical lighting colours such as yellows, greens, blues and purples, matching colours you find in the coral reefs. In terms of which gallery to use, I'd probably pick the Jurassic World gallery, as the open-topped girder roof has more of a tropical feel for me. Plenty of flower planters and tree pots would help with the tropical island feel around the gallery. If you're creating more of a Jurassic World inspired lagoon with the boat or Indorex pieces inside, then I would use the very Jurassic World-esque sails and fountain sections to match the style we see on the hotels. I would keep the lighting bright and white, again to match the Jurassic World's modern feel. But what about if you don't want to match the biomes? Well, another thing you can do with the lagoons is to turn them into what I've called stadiums. The stadium look works best with mods, but you can still pull off the designs easily enough without them. Essentially, what we want to do here is to surround the lagoons with the tallest decoration pieces so that the lagoon itself seems enclosed. So this makes use of all of the tall decoration pieces such as the Jurassic Park era flag pillars, the flaming obelisk pieces, and the tall white sails of the Jurassic World era. All you do to create the stadium effect is to position these tall decoration pieces around all of the edges using the same one for each side so that the lagoon looks enclosed. Remember that you will automatically lose 2 sides for the gallery and the feeder if you're keeping feeding on. In order to make the stadium look best on a single lagoon section, I would position the gallery and feeder on opposite sides so that you have two clear sides for the walls of the stadium. However, if you're turning food requirements off, then you don't need to worry. For example, on this single lagoon I've created here, I've created what I've called the Kraken style stadium using the tool sails. I've named it because the sails for me make me think of the large Kraken teeth coming out of the water, like that bit at the end of Pirates of the Caribbean 2. The stadium design also works well with larger lagoons. Let's consider this straight line lagoon created from 3 individual sections. Firstly, we could place all of the viewing galleries and the food creating structures along one straight side. This creates a natural front and back to the lagoon, and we can then place all the tall stadium wall structures along the sides and the rear to enclose the lagoon. Alternatively, we could place galleries along both straight edges or at the curved end points, and then place the tall pillar structures around the rest of the lagoon to enclose it. This would work very well if your lagoon is the center focal point of your park or park area. We can then theme the biome of the lagoon and design the outside. In this example, I've created the Roman racetrack stadium, taking the large oval-shaped chariot race courses as inspiration. The use of the tall flag pillars and flaming obelisks here, as well as using the JP era lagoon galleries, helps to create that Roman feel, and you could even add some more monorail decorations and powerline pillars around this to further enhance that Roman feel. An alternative lagoon shape could be a larger triangular shaped lagoon. And again, with this, you have some options about where you place your galleries and your feeders. You might choose to position them on the points of the triangles, giving you straight line edges down the 3 sides. Alternatively, you might position the galleries along the edges of the triangles and place decorations in the corners. You could even mix and match these styles. Try, however, to maintain some degree of parallel positioning or symmetry with your placements to make it look designed as opposed to hashed together. Here, I've used the Jurassic World sails to enclose the sides of this triangular lagoon, and I've placed the galleries and feeding stations at the corners to create what I've called the Grand Stadium. Remember, you can cheat and remove feeding requirements for carnivores, which will enable you to have as much decoration as you can around the lagoon edges. And don't forget, you can construct monorail sections above and around the water, creating grander structures. Now, this is all within the game's natural limitations, but what about if you have no restrictions at all? In the next video, I'm going to show you some more design ideas making full use of the mods, and we're going to try to create the most wonderful and imaginative lagoon designs with the advantages that the mods have. But for now, don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know down in the comments what you think of these lagoon designs, and feel free to suggest what future videos you'd like to see from me. For now, stay safe and goodbye.